Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to All the Mods Expert Remastered. So, I want to start off by saying I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. We had a pretty good one. It felt like it lasted for quite a few days because we had so many Christmases to go to and dinners to do and all that stuff. Kind of happy it's come and gone. I love Christmas time, and of course we still got our tree up and everything like that, but it was so much rushing around, and then it was so much really heavy food, where normally we don't generally eat a lot of really heavy stuff, and all that heavy food, me and my girlfriend both were kind of sick there for a few days, and it was a mess. But anyways, since last episode, I've been working in the room where we were setting up last episode. This room right here where we had the IC2 fans going, and I put our stained glass in, and then I spent a bit of time decorating. So the roof's in, the floor's in, and I've done some piping around through here. Kind of because we got these turbines running, and eventually it's going to be a lot of machines running in this room. So I went ahead and ran some pipes. Some of them go up, and they're all just decorative. They just go down, and then they pretty much just go into the floor there. But yeah, this is immersive engineering fluid pipes, so not too bad. All those ores, I left those running, so you can see we've got a lot of materials built up, and I did run through a lot of these when I was making this stuff over here. So what we got over here this is fluid tanks from Ender.io. They pump straight down into geothermal generators. This one actually has some lava in it. The rest of these don't. I don't have an automated pump just yet, so I just used the lava that we had lying around. So anyways, it goes into that geothermal generator. That goes straight down into a bat box. You can see this one's all charged up, and then that goes down into a metal former. And then we'll have other machines down through here. So it kind of makes the room look lively. There's going to be machines. It's all going to be fluid tanks, geothermal generators, bat boxes, and then we'll have, I'm thinking 3 metal formers, and then a couple maybe pulverizers right here for manual use. So that's what I've been setting up over here. Now this over here, I think what I'm going to end up doing is maybe between this episode, or not pulverizers, macerators, maybe between this episode and next, I might make another macerator and another electric furnace and set it up, macerator, electric furnace, and then have that pumped to the output as well. And have this kind of wrap around so that if this one is filled, say this one has copper in it and we have 10 in this, maybe 10 can go over here and start getting macerated. So we'll have 2 of them running. I think it's just what I'm going to do. This is a lot of just for decorative, look, but we are getting quite a bit of use out of it. It does make mining and stuff so much easier. So, and I'm happy to say that my backpack's pretty well cleared out. Now my chests are not sorted; they're a mess, but that's fine. But the bag is for the most part it's cleared out. So, anyways, picking back up today, we are going to start rockhounding. Okay, now the stuff we're going to do in rockhounding, we'll use this. We'll make a room dedicated to it, mainly for decor. We're not going to be using rockhounding long term. I'm not a huge fan of rockhounding, and there's better alternatives to the rockhounding that we'll be able to get into before long for ores and stuff like that. But anyways, today we're going to start this because we do need to start getting some of those alloys so that we can make this cart, so that we can make our tree farm, so that we can make lots of RF power and really push forward from that point. So anyways, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make the petrographer. This thing's not terribly expensive. 3 diamonds and a couple sticks, which I think I have sticks lying around. I do. So let's go ahead and grab this. There we go. There's our petrographer. Anyways, and they're going to give us the petrographer table. Okay, now this, we're not really going to be able to utilize this right now, I don't believe, because it does require mineral samples to set this thing. Basically, you put your petrographer right there, and you put mineral samples right here. So we're not going to be able to do too much with that right this second, but that's fine. Now the next quest, this one right here, we already have finished this. This is get a half stack of uninspected minerals, and they're going to give us 16 more. So we'll go ahead and grab that, and then we need to start working on getting ourselves a mineral sizer. To do that, first we're going to have to get a casting bench. So the casting bench is just stone slabs, iron, and a piston. So let me get the stuff real quick to make a piston. Okay, so there's our piston, and then the rest of this is all pretty straightforward. What is it, 4 iron? Yeah. I don't have very much iron down here. It's I have 2 ingots left down here. I need to move all those ingots that have been processed down. So stone slabs, and there is our casting bench. So let's detect that. And they're going to give us 8 iron casings. Okay, it says it's used to turn materials into a range of crafting and consumable items. Can be automated with pipes or used manually by right-clicking an item into the machine and selecting the pattern with left-click. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to make ourselves our first crushing gears. And these require iron. So let's go ahead and grab that. And our casting bench, I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and set the petrographer table. Of course, the room isn't going to be... Where did I put that thing at? Over here. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put this stuff in the room that will eventually be dedicated to rockhounding, which will just be right over here. And we'll build it out and stuff like that room over there. So our casting bench and our table. And then what we can do is we can take and we can left click this, okay? And we're going to change our pattern over to the gear pattern. This one right here. And then what we can do is we can take and right click our iron into that. And you can see that's going to smash it. And it's going to create a crushing gear. Okay. Now like this said, we can automate this with pipes. Right here can be automated with pipes or used manually. Later on, you know, we may automate it, but right now this is fine. We're going to get another crushing gear and either 16 uninspected minerals or 16 granite. Let's take the minerals, I think. And then we can start looking at the mineral sizer. To make this, what do we need? Okay, this recipe is a little bit more interesting. We're going to use some of those iron casings that we got from that reward. And then we're also going to need a hopper, a basic logic chip, which is extremely cheap, and then an item cabinet, which is also... Does it have to be brown glass? No. Okay, it can be any kind of glass. And then iron. Okay. And I believe... I forgot I took this backpack off. I do have some glass on me. So let's go ahead and get our item cabinet. There we go. Do these not stack? No, they don't. Okay. And let me grab like a stack of this iron because we're going to need quite a bit of it. So, but I figure right now we'll get through the basics of rockhounding, getting some of this stuff set up today. So we needed a... What all did we need for that? Basic logic. 2 iron, gold nugget, and redstone. So there is our basic logic chip. And then we can get our mineral sizer. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves like a stack of coal. This thing does need some kind of burnable fuel. I can't remember if this can eventually use RF. I know the lab ovens can eventually use RF once you get the materials needed for that. But I cannot recall about this. We'll find out. Let's go ahead and grab our uninspected minerals. And we've got almost 3 stacks of it. And let's pop over here. We'll set the mineral sizer down like right there. And if you open it up, we have this GUI. So right now, we're not going to worry about exposed gangus, whatever. What we're going to do, we're going to take our crushing gear, we're going to put it right into there. And then we're going to take our fuel, put it right in there. You'll notice that it gets, it has a storage. So it's not going to use any fuel if we're not doing something. And then what we can do is we can take our uninspected minerals, just drop it into there. What we can do is we can set the comminution level. We're going to set it up to the first level first. So you can see it says exposed gangu, I guess that's how you pronounce it, silicate gangu, and that's what's going to be produced by this. Okay, so we're going to let this run for just a minute. And you can see it just finished, and we got silicate gangu and borate gangu. Okay, so that's the one that we actually had it set to, right? The silicate gangu. And then the borate was a chance on one of the higher ones. The 8 out of 10 would be the borate. It would focus on making that borate. So, and we'll let that run for just a minute. You can see the bar right there that fills up. That's what, that's the completion bar. Okay? Okay, it just finished communication level 2, and we got carbonate gangue. And we'll go ahead and set it up to 3. I'm going to go grab a chest, just so we have one to store all these gangues in for just a minute. Because we will have a lot of these building up. Because, I mean, the quest right here has us getting all kinds of stuff. So, we've already got 3 of them, though. And I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it to an iron chest, just because it's not too much of an issue. I don't really bump them up to gold right now, and that's just because gold right now, we have to process that through the smeltery, the Tinker smeltery, and it's no fun. Alright, so that one's finished. Let's bump it up to 4. And we got sulfide, and there's some oxide. Actually, let's go ahead and bump it up to 5 then. Because if you take a look, sulfide, or oxide, I mean, that's the level 4. We've already got that. We're just trying to get the quest knocked out for right now, and then we'll kind of focus these down a bit more. Actually, I need to manual detect. And you can put hoppers and stuff on this if you so desire, or pipes, whatever. That is an option. Okay, we got halide and native gangue. I know I'm probably pronouncing like most of this stuff wrong. That's fine. That is a-okay. Alright, we'll just dump that into there. And right now we're missing phosphate, arsenite, and sulfate. Alright, so there is some sulfate. And these additional uninspected minerals, I'm just going to dump those into there. Our petrographer, I'm going to put that in there for right now. Because we don't really have much use for holding on to those. Because I'm not going to run through all the uninspected minerals until we figure out exactly what we need. You know, as far as these gangue, which ones we're going to want. And I will say, it's been a while since I've done anything with rockhounding, so if I get things off a little bit, it may happen. So just a heads up. Okay, manual detect. Alright, so we're only missing the arsenite, which is the level 10 version. So there's arsenite. And we'll go ahead and grab that. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to get 16 coal, 16 redstone, and then we get to pick either granite or uninspected minerals. We're going to go ahead and take, I guess, uninspected minerals. I've got quite a bit of granite, so I'm not too worried about that right now. Even though we are going to be using quite a bit within this mod. So, okay, so we've got that done. And now we need to take a look at this section. Alright, so first up, they want us to make 8 fluorite-bearing compost. This stuff... If we take a look at fluorite-bearing compost, we can use the lab blender. And is there a request for the lab blender by chance? I don't think so. So we're going to have to make a lab blender. That's fine. We'll get to that in just a second. But you can see that the fluorite-bearing compost, we can either use fluorite shards or apatite. And fluorite shards, we can get those from breaking down granite in the mineral sizer. Also the leaching vat, which we can't get into that just yet. Or the petrographer, which we'll be able to do that in just a second, and we will in just a moment. We'll use that petrographer table. But what we're going to need to do is go get ourselves some granite for our first bit of fluorite. So let me go grab a bit of that. Yeah, I've got 876 granite, so I think we're a-okay on granite. I do believe. I mean, those uninspected minerals... I know in normal packs, I don't know about this pack, but normally those uninspected minerals go pretty far, but we shall see as far as this pack goes. Okay, so I'm just going to throw all 64 of that granite in there, and I'm going to go ahead and just, we'll go ahead and drop that down. And you can see right now we have no exposure required. Granite does not need any specific exposure. Okay, it's going to make fluorite shards regardless. So there we go. There's our first fluorite shard. Okay, so then what we can do is let's grab our petrographer, and we're going to drop this into here, and we also need, let's see, what's the halide gangue? So let's get one of those, and this is going to go in this slot right here. You put your gangues in this one, and then you put your, basically your, I don't know, I guess gem on this side. You can see that the mineral flavor, if you tab over this, says mineral flavor halide gangue, specimen flavor fluorite shard. Okay, so if we pull this out, it's still got that. If you put both of them in there, you can change this anytime you want. It doesn't consume anything. Basically, it just sets the flavor of your petrographer. All right, I believe it has to be naturally occurring uninspected minerals. I know I had some out here, but I might have mined them. I can't remember. It looks like I did. Okay, let me pop underground. I'm going to go see if I can find some. And I'll show you how this thing works. Okay, here we go. Here's some uninspected minerals. So then what we can do is break these with this pick. And eventually, there we go. You can see we just got a halide gangue. Okay, so that's the one that we are currently mining for, is that halide one. And you can change it basically if you take this, you open it up, and you look at the recipes. Here's all the petrographer recipes. So you can see that, you know, use any of these shards, which we'll get into these in just a bit. Basically, these shards are part of this family, so they have to match up to whatever can come from this gangue. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let me just warp home real quick. We're going to enchant this, because if you take a look at the petrographer, you can see there's a level. Currently, we are 0. It says 9 out of 10 XP to level up. Fortune 1, 3%, 1920 to find. And basically, you can put fortune on this. It's going to make it more common that you find stuff. And as it levels up, you're going to get more stuff from mining with this. Okay, so we do want to try. Well, we don't really have any way to specify enchantments, I don't think, in this pack at the moment. Later on, we'll get Ender IO, Botania, stuff like that will allow us to do it. So right now, we're just going to enchant it and see what we get. Later on, we'll be able to hopefully focus those enchantments a bit more. And I'm going to need oak wood, so let me go grab some. But we'll be able to focus those enchantments. What we would like to have is ideally like the standard stuff, the Fortune 3, the Unbreaking, the Efficiency. All of those would be nice for the petrographer. But right now, we'll just take what we can get. I mean, it's not an expensive tool to make. But the fact that, we need to consistently use it to get it to level up and all of that, it's something that we do want to kind of take care of. And try not to have to replace it if we can avoid it. Alright, so let's get ourselves our 15 bookcases. And then we're going to need an enchantment table. What does this require? Standard. Okay, so let me get a couple diamonds and some obsidian. Okay, so we've got our stuff for our enchantment table. We'll go ahead and grab that. And it sounds as though that completed a quest somewhere. No clue where, though. And we'll just put it right over here for the time being. Alright, so there we go. And let's drop our petrographer in there. XP boost, unbreaking. I feel like that is blocking it. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. I don't really want XP boost 3. Truth be told, I don't want it. But hopefully it's got some other good stuff attached to it. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. So we'll go ahead and just take it. And we got XP boost 3 and efficiency 4. So nothing that I actually wanted. I would have preferred fortune and unbreaking. That's fine. That's okay. Like I said, it's not something that I intend to use a ton of. I mean, rockhounding, we'll use it for a little bit. But ores and stuff like that, we'll eventually have better ways to process those. Okay, now one thing that I do want to do real quick, because you'll notice that the granite, if it gets crushed one time, it makes a fluorite shard. Then it's not able to crush anything else until this fluorite shard is removed, and then it can start processing again. So we're just going to do some really, really quick, easy automation for that real quick. And by the way, I'm on the server right now with Raven, Wega 77 and Faraday 326. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves a chest mover. And then we are going to want transfer nodes. Alright, we'll just do like a really, really quick kind of temporary semi-automation so that we can let that granite run through, because those fluorite shards, I mean, we really don't need a ton of them right this second, but this way if we want to put a bunch of stuff into this, we can let it run for a while. It just makes our lives a bit easier. So we'll just put the transfer node right there, and it's going to pull out, it actually just pulled out a fluorite shard for us. Okay, and that way this doesn't get backed up. It can pull out immediately anything that it gets. Okay, so anyways, back to our fluorite. the fluorite-bearing compost. Now we're going to need a lab blender, because we've got the fluorite shards. They're being made. The quest only wants us to get 8 of these. I'm pretty sure that we'll probably need more than 8 fluorite-bearing compost by the end of it. But that's fine. We'll get to that a little bit later. So we're going to need another item cabinet. And let's actually just pull up this lab blender. So item cabinet. And then we're going to want to get ourselves, see, we've got the stone slabs, we've got the iron. We're going to need a piston and then a blending unit. That's 4 iron casings, a crushing gear, and some glass. So let's go ahead and grab this crushing gear. You can see these do last for a decent amount of time. And then, oh yeah, the casings. Let's go ahead and basically for casings, what you can do is just left click and kind of cycle through this, and right there, that's casing. So, let's see, what does it take to, is it not iron? Oh, it's blocks of iron for the casings. Okay. That's fine. These are a little bit expensive. Just a little bit. So 2 of those. Luckily they gave us those 8 for free, because that actually helps out a lot. Oh, and they craft, okay, they craft 8 at a time. My bad. So we've got 18 of them. That's fine. That's okay. We'll end up needing them, so that's not really an issue. And then just glass. Okay. So there is our blending unit. And then we just need the piston, which that's easy enough. There we go. And our lab blender. There we go. Alright. So then let's pop up here and we'll get our fluorite bearing compost made. So we'll set that down right there. This is going to require a fuel source once again. We'll just take some coal and actually let me move it before we set it up right there. And we'll put this right over here, I guess. And we'll drop our coal in there. There's some, it's kind of a visual bug here. It's the invisible lab blender. That's fine. So we're going to need 6 fluorite shards altogether. We'll just drop these into, oops, we're going to unlock it. Okay, you have to hit the that's kind of strange. You have to hit the activation button to be able to drop stuff in there. Okay. Now we can lock it so that whenever this gets emptied out, it's still locked as fluorite shards. So that way for automation, you know, you can automate it so that other things don't come in here or whatever. But right now we're doing it manual, so we'll just leave it unlocked. Okay, so there's our 8 fluorite bearing compost. Really wish this thing wasn't invisible. That would be great. And we'll go ahead and turn this quest in. We're going to get 4 fluorite bearing compost and then either coal or redstone. We'll take the coal. Got like 1,000 redstone, so. Alright, so next up, sodium chloride, which is salt compost, is used to make several fluids. The first acid you will make, should. What is this? The first acid you will make should probably be hydrochloric acid. Okay. This is confusing. By combining sodium chloride compost and sulfuric acid in a lab oven. Alright, so the sodium chloride compost, this is just salt. 3 salt makes 4 sodium chloride compost. Salt is made with a saucepan and water. Okay, so we'll go ahead and make ourselves a saucepan real quick. There we go. And this is fairly easy to automate. So we could automate this like salt production, which we probably will a little bit later on. I want it to go there, actually. Thanks. But not just yet. We are going to need a lot more of this stuff. We're getting close to the point where automation is going to be a lot less of a headache, which of course is going to be nice. So, there we go. There's our 8 sodium chloride compost. And we'll go ahead and manual detect. We're going to get 4 more, and coal or redstone again. We'll take the coal. And then last up, they want us to make sulfur-bearing compost. This requires sulfur, pyrite shards, blocks of coal, anthracite blocks of coal, or anthracite coal blocks, bituminous coal blocks, or blocks of coal coke. You can see it varies on the amount that it produces. If we have sulfur, which we have sulfur ore, but it looks like that. I think I've got some of that lying around. And then the pyrite shards, we're not going to be able to do those yet. I mean, technically we could, well, we'd have to get a pyrite shard to be able to do it in the petrographer, but we're not really going to be able to make those until we get to the leaching vat. That's where you start taking gangues and these different acids, and then you combine that stuff together and you get the shards out of it. So that's probably going to be next episode before we get into the leaching vat. But let's see, I've got I do not have any sulfur. Okay, so it looks like we're going with the coal blocks. So let's see, anthracite and coal coke were the ones that made 4 per craft. Anthracite, this one right here. Yeah, we'll just do 2 of those. That's fine, because it was just, yeah, 1 makes 4, so that'll be good. That will be good. That'll knock out that quest for us. So there we go. We'll get that running. This thing's fairly quick, as you can tell. It's not too bad. And there's our sulfur-bearing compost. And we'll go ahead and... oh, we need 32. Never mind. Never mind. We don't need 8. It's not too bad. I mean, the only thing is that anthracite, we use it for so much stuff, but that's fine. Hopefully before too long it won't be an issue. Maybe for future endeavors, making sulfur-bearing compost, I might use other types of coal. Because, like, standard coal I have a lot of. It's only 1 less. And then the bituminous coal, let's see, that's 21,600. Yeah, we'll probably use standard coal where we can. So, but anyways, maybe that was a bad choice. I don't know. It could be. We're going to get 32, or returning our 32 sulfur-bearing compost. They're going to give us 16 more. We'll go ahead and take the coal from that as well. So we've got all of our different basic compost. Now you'll notice there's a few others. There's a cracked coal compost, carbon compost, silicon, wood ash, rutile-bearing compost. Some of this stuff we may get into a bit later, I imagine. But not just yet. Okay, so 4 lab ovens. They want us to make 4 of these. It says, while you can use a single lab oven, it's strongly recommended to make a lab oven for each fluid you'll need. The lab oven is initially powered by a heat source, for example, coal and redstone. When you're able to make nichrome, you can upgrade to use RF power directly. So that's where we want to get to. To use the lab oven, open the GUI, cycle through, blah, blah, blah. We'll go into that once we set it up. Okay, so actually making the lab ovens, what do we need for this? Okay, it's mainly iron casings, glass, more of those item cabinets, basic logic chips. And they want us to make 4 of these. So let's go ahead. I'm going to need more glass for sure. So let me get some more of that smelting up. Okay, I actually forgot I had glass in this crafting station. So I went ahead and just grabbed that. Now these basic logic chips, they do not stack. So just a heads up. I actually filled my inventory up with those things. Oh, all those iron casings I made earlier that I thought I had too many of? Yeah, missing those. And I'm pretty well out of iron. So let me go grab some more iron. We'll get 1 more iron casing and then we'll have our 4 lab ovens. So that part's going to be done. It's a lot of iron, but iron's not really an issue at this point, so that's fine. Alright, so there is our 4. For some reason these will not stack. There we no, well. Okay. Anyways, we've got our 4 lab ovens. They're going to give us 1 additional one. And then we get to pick transfer pipes or transfer node for fluids. I'm going to take just 1 of those, really? I'm going to take the transfer pipes. I think that's a better choice, personally. And then I guess that one doesn't stack either. Nope. Cool. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and set up our lab ovens. I wish this would not be invisible. That would be awesome. So we'll quickly go over how the lab ovens work. Next episode, we're going to do some automation. Why is everything turning invisible on me? We'll do a little bit more automation with these and with rockhounding in general and start getting into the leaching vat and into the second page here a bit. The cryogenic distillation plant, all that. Yeah, all of these are invisible except for this one. So that's kind of strange. Anyways, what we can do is we can take and click through this and we're going to pick recipes. So you can see we can make sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, hydrofluoric acid, phosphoric acid, sodium cyanide, nitric acid, syngas, ammonia, chloromethane, polyacrylic acid, silicon, titanium tetrachloride, so all of those. And I believe, like I said, it's been a while since I've done much with rockhounding, but I believe we're going to need most of those. So, but anyways, the first thing that we need to make is sulfuric acid. So that is a combination of our sulfur-bearing compost and water. Yeah. So 1,000 millibuckets of water, 500 millibuckets of sulfuric acid, sulfur-bearing compost. So 1,000 millibuckets of water, some sulfur-bearing compost. It's going to get us 500 millibuckets of sulfuric acid. So for example, what we can do is we can drop in... So let's get ourselves just a little bit of water to start with. And I'll make some stuff between episodes because there's going to be quite a few things that we're going to be using to automate this. Piping and liquids and all that good stuff. Can I dump? There we go. You have to hit the activation button. I keep forgetting about that. So we'll dump our water in there. There's 1,000 millibuckets of that. And we'll dump our sulfur-bearing compost in there. And, oh yeah, we're also going to need redstone. I almost forgot about that. So fuel, we'll drop some redstone in there. That gives it some RF power. Like we talked about earlier, eventually we're going to be able to make this accept straight RF power, but not yet. Right now we have to use redstone to produce the RF. Because we're going to need nichrome to be able to do that. So there is our first batch of sulfuric acid. We'll go ahead and drop another sulfur-bearing compost in there. So we'll get 1,000 millibuckets of sulfuric acid. And let me check something here. Over here we've got liquid nitrogen, ammonia, nitric acid. Okay. So there we go. 1,000 millibuckets of sulfuric acid, and I believe... There we go. We now have a bucket of sulfuric acid. Okay. So that's how you produce the liquids. That's how you use the lab oven. And you know it's going to be different depending on what recipe you're using, for example. But you can look in here and see all the recipes. So, like for example, some of these, like for making sodium cyanide, it's 300 millibuckets. It takes 500 millibuckets of ammonia, 500 millibuckets of syngas, and some sodium chloride compost. So we're going to be automating this and having these liquids, creating buffers and all that stuff. And we'll start doing that next episode, automating that. And then we'll be able to, you know, continue on with rockhounding. Because those liquids are going to be key. We have to get those automated. Like there's no, forgot the leaching vat is like that. Leaching vat, okay, we could already make that. That's really not much different than making the ovens. So but the leaching vat, in order to use this thing, if you take a look here, this is where we're going to start using our liquids. We use combinations of these liquids to break down these gangues, get our shards and all that. So, and then we'll be able to move into chemical extractor, which you take the shards and extract the stuff that's in them. For example, if you take a look at the shards that's in here that this is producing, so agardite, you can say that there's copper, arsenic, lead, and all this different stuff that's in these. And so that's where the chemical extractor comes into play. Then we can get into the metal alloyer, which is how we're going to make our alloys to really push forward within the pack. Okay, because getting those metal alloys, I believe once we get that, we'll be able to make pewter. Because you can say this takes tin, copper, bismuth, lead, in a metal alloyer. And then, which I guess technically, well, we can't get bismuth. We can get copper, tin, lead, but we'll need rockhounding to get bismuth. But we'll be able to make pewter. We'll be able to get our drawer controller. We'll be able to get our cart made, all that stuff. So rockhounding is kind of the gateway into a lot of the rest of the tech that we're kind of waiting on. So, but yeah, next episode we will automate these lab ovens. Hopefully they'll be visible by next episode, I hope. And we'll also probably automate some of this stuff that's over here as well. Maybe do some casting bench automation. We'll see. Get that automated to make crushing gears, to make sure this thing always has a crushing gear in it. Because we are going to want to start breaking these down. And we'll see. But the main thing we want to get automated right now is the chemicals, the lab oven chemicals. So I'm probably going to make a few more lab ovens. I want to have one for each chemical that we're going to be producing, because we want one for each one. We want dedicated lab ovens. And there's quite a few, you know, as you saw, we got 5 lab ovens. I think altogether we're probably going to need, like 8 or 9, something like that. So we'll make a few more of those. Now, before I end out the episode, one thing that I want to do is I want to pop over and we are going to check out Wega's base today. Because we've been meaning to check that out, and today we are going to go check it out. And I was actually over here earlier I've actually came by his base a couple times. He's online right now, but he's not at his base. But this is his base. So I've passed it a few times. I don't think I've ever passed it on camera, but I've passed it when I've been out exploring and stuff. So I did have somewhat of a brief look at his base earlier, because I came by to help him. Since I'm server admin, he was having issue with bees, and because he's been doing a whole lot of bees. What have I got here? Glowing. Okay. Go. I got like a bunch of lag when I first came over here. I don't know where this basement goes. I was thinking a mine. No. It looks like a machine shop. He's actually got like a little AE terminal, but he was having issue with bees, and he wasn't able to get prismarine bees. So he's been doing gendustry. And so I ended up, I don't know, I couldn't find anything on the pack about it being disabled. And so I ended up having to cheat him in prismarine bees, because he had been running the gendustry stuff for quite a while and wasn't able to get them. Which is kind of strange if you're familiar with gendustry. If you have the gendustry set up, getting braids is not an issue at all. Oh, he's got a little cooking for blockheads set up over here. And what's this ladder? I don't know. I think maybe there used to be something there, but there's not anymore. Now there is some stairs going up, which we'll go check those out real quick. But yeah, I couldn't find anything on the pack about prismarine bees being disabled. They just weren't. He wasn't able to get them, so. I think it was maybe a bug or something like that. So, because anyways, you're going to need a lot of prismarine for later in the pack, and that's where he was wanting the prismarine base for that. Of course, you can also do guardian spawners and stuff like that. Looks like maybe he used to have solar panels here, I'm thinking. But yeah, so here's his apiary setups where he's been doing bees. I know a few days ago he was asking me some questions about bees, because he wasn't really familiar with bees, and now he's been getting into bees. He's been doing bees like non-stop, I think, since then. I'm assuming maybe he's working with these right now. Got all kinds of bee chests. I know how it is. Bees, they make a big old mess. Oh, and here's the distillation setup that we'll be getting into fairly soon. And oh, here's a bunch of lab ovens, and he's got them all labeled with what kind of liquids they're making, which are the acids and all that stuff. And forestry setup, and IC2 water wheels. There he is. I don't know where he was, but he's here now. Yeah, I don't know where he came from, but Faraday and Wega both say hi. Okay, I had to hook him up with some more bees, because his ones turned to waste. But yeah, for some reason they're not craftable in this pack. He was having a lot of issues with them, because gendustry normally, if you're making new braids, that's not really an issue at all with gendustry. And he was working at it for hours, no joke, for hours and hours and hours. So I just cheated him in, because I think there's a bug with making them in the pack or something. Bees, of course, being all RNG. So it looks like he's starting Botania. And what do we got down here? Empower setup. And it looks like he's got some semi-automation stuff going on with it. And I think that's it. I think that's the end of his base. I don't know where he mines at. I believe he actually just recently moved. No, he didn't. He didn't. Because I remember he's been living over here next to me. Because here's my base, here's his base. Oh, he says there's an elevator inside that goes down. Okay. So we'll swing over there. Arc furnace, I know I've noticed quite a few people are, a bit farther in the pack. And I've noticed everybody has arc furnaces. So I do believe, I haven't looked through to see what they're needed for, but it seems like they're fairly important within the pack. Okay, we have a couple floors here. We have a bunch of floors here. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. Because I was kind of wondering where certain things were, like the smeltery and stuff. Man, I imagine all this nether brick was probably fun to make. I have a sneaking suspicion that it was. What's this, silverfish? Yeah, he's got a silverfish trophy. Looks like all the mannequins are like holding hands. Is what it makes me think of. Deep Dark Portal. Let's see. There's Aroma Core and this is like a portal floor. And then Smelter and stuff. So, Aroma, we still need to make one of those. But I haven't worried about it until we get some kind of quarrying or something. And then Nether Portal. And let's head down to the next floor. And this is... Oh, okay, this is Mixer, Centrifuge, Melter, and Ember stuff. Oh, and Netherwort. I haven't looked to see if we actually need the Mixer Centrifuge. That'll be interesting. Uh-oh. What has happened here? Like, this is the biggest, like, mining... I don't know if he's going to build something in here, maybe? I have no clue. Compressed cobble. I think most of these floors are unfinished after the portal floor. Then we've got, like, a tree farm. Oh, this is a forestry. Yeah. Because it's all turned to sand. He needs dirt in it. Aha. Ha ha ha. Alright. And I have a feeling it's out of appetites. No. Fertilizer. And then blast furnace, coke oven. Yeah, he didn't upgrade his blast furnace either. I haven't bothered yet. I don't really have the RF power because I'm kind of waiting on the tree farm to do that. But I just haven't even bothered really. And then we are down near bedrock now. Like, right there's bedrock. Oh, and there's his the ember borer. So, huh. I actually quite like his house because it's like a small he's like invisible. It's like a cottage farmhouse or something. I actually quite like it. I didn't even notice that windmill over there. I think I looked at it because it's up there by the Botania area, but I just totally missed it. But yeah, I actually quite like this. Because it's like a cottage, like a farmhouse. And I love this. I love little side access areas. But yeah, his is like very outside, like, which I like. I love like the open feel of it and everything. Alright, so I'm going to head back to our house. Oh, and our lab ovens now show up. That's awesome. So, anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode, so I am going to end this out here. Next episode, like I said, we're going to start moving into rockhounding automation. Getting those fluids automated. I'm going to make some things between episodes so we can kind of transition through that. I mean, it's just a lot of piping and stuff like that. And things that we've used before, like water collection and whatnot. So I'm going to try to get most of that stuff prepped between episodes, and then we'll just come in next episode and automate it. I mean, right now it's going to be kind of semi-automated because it takes things like, let's see, I think, can we do like a mechanical or any kind of crafter at the moment? We can't do the mechanical crafter, but we can do analog crafters. So that'll be just as well. That's not really an issue. Ender IO crafters, no. And of course these take power, analog crafters don't. So that's fine. So we'll go ahead and automate like salt next episode. Next episode we're just going to probably spend most of the episode just automating. So we can get all those fluids automated and whatnot. So between episodes I may work on building this room out a little bit. But I may wait until we get our automation in place for that. So I'll probably end up working on this area and continue opening up this upper section. And hopefully start adding in the big project of up here. Because, yeah. I'm not going to say too much, but I've got to start working on this and making these. I'm sure you can tell these are going to funnel water down. So we're going to have this big, almost like dam type structure around this sort of thing. Not exactly a dam, but we'll get into it next episode. So, or hopefully next episode. We'll see. That's probably where I'm going to spend my time building. So, but that's the plan anyway. So next episode, automation for rockhounding stuff. So, Anyways, it's like lagging a little bit right now. Yeah, my connection's like dropped. I'm not sure why, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. Once again, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and are looking forward to the new year. So, anyways, until next time, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.